The air was warm and thick with silence as David, a 29-year-old traveler from Scotland, walked through the dusty paths of a small European village nestled between wide open fields and distant green hills. He wasn't looking for anything, just a quiet day with his camera and some space to breathe. But fate had other plans. As he stopped to take a photo of an old barn, something tugged at his jeans. Gently, almost afraid. He looked down, and there she was. A German shepherd, thin to the bone, with dirty tangled fur and eyes that were full of something deeper than fear. It wasn't hunger that shone in her eyes. It was urgency. It was sorrow. She didn't bark. She didn't growl. She only looked up at him with pleading eyes and tugged again, soft and desperate. "Are you asking for help?" David murmured, kneeling slowly. The dog backed away, then turned and looked over her shoulder. Then she did it again, ran a few steps, stopped, looked back. David followed. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the pain in her eyes or the way she moved like she had no strength left but still refused to stop. She led him far from the road, through overgrown paths and broken fences, until they reached a collapsed wooden shed surrounded by thorny bushes. She rushed toward the door, pawing at it and whining in panic. David pushed the door open and the smell hit him. Rot, urine, mold. The light was dim, but as his eyes adjusted, he saw them. 4 tiny puppies. One wasn't moving at all. The others were barely breathing, too weak to whimper. They lay in a pile of torn cloth and moldy hay. One opened its eyes, just a slit, and closed them again. "Oh my God," David whispered. The mother rushed to their side and nudged the smallest one with her nose, gently licking its head. Her tail thumped weakly once. David's chest tightened. He could feel it, the fear, the heartbreak, the urgency. "I'm getting you out of here," he said. David carefully stepped into the dark shed. His heart was beating fast. The smell of old blood and sickness was strong. He looked around and saw broken cages, rusty tools, and trash on the floor. Whoever had left these puppies here didn't care if they lived or died. The German shepherd mother lay beside her pups and licked their faces. She was shaking, but she didn't stop caring for them. David knelt down and slowly picked up one of the pups. It was so light, like a bundle of bones wrapped in soft fur. He took off his jacket and gently placed all 3 weak puppies inside. He checked the 4th one again. It didn't move. It was too late for that one. "I'm sorry," he whispered with a heavy heart. He turned to the mother. "Come on, girl. Let's get out of here." She stood slowly. Her legs wobbled, but she followed him. David pushed through the bushes and started walking back toward the village. The dog limped beside him, never falling behind. The sun was setting now. The air was cooler. David's arms were getting tired from carrying the puppies, but he didn't stop. After 30 minutes of walking, he finally reached the small town center. He ran into a grocery shop and asked where the nearest vet was. A young woman named Maria, who worked at the shop, saw the puppies and gasped. "They look terrible. Follow me. I'll take you to Dr. Elena." "She's the village vet," she said, grabbing her car keys. David, the dog, and the puppies got into Maria's car. The drive was short, but it felt like forever. At the clinic, Dr. Elena met them at the door. She was an older woman with kind eyes. When she saw the puppies, her face turned serious. "They're in very bad shape," she said quickly. "Bring them in now." David helped place them on a soft table. Dr. Elena and her assistant started working fast, giving fluids, checking temperatures, and cleaning wounds. The mother dog stood near the table, watching everything. She whined softly and looked scared. "Don't worry," David whispered, kneeling beside her. "They're in good hands now." One of the puppies stopped breathing for a second. Dr. Elena pressed on its chest again and again, then finally, the puppy gasped and took a slow breath. The mother dog touched the puppy's head with her nose. "She's a good mother, Doctor," Elena said. Even with her own pain, she stayed alive for them. David stayed at the clinic that night. He didn't want to leave them. He slept on a small bench near the mother dog. She curled up beside him and placed her head gently on his shoe. That moment told David everything. She trusted him now. He decided to name her Sasha. By morning, the puppies were still alive. They were weak but holding on. Dr. Elena gave David some special food and medicine for them. Maria, the woman from the shop, brought a clean blanket and fresh water. "You're doing something special," she said softly. David looked at Sasha and her pups. "They're the special ones. I'm just helping them get a second chance." The clinic room was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines and the sound of shallow breathing. David sat on the floor beside the mother dog, now named Bella. Her body was curled protectively around the 3 surviving puppies. One had not made it through the night. David had buried the 4th puppy that morning behind the clinic under a tree, with tears in his eyes. Bella had whimpered the whole time, lying beside her babies, licking the smallest one again and again, as if trying to keep him alive with love alone. Dr. Elena, the local vet, worked non-stop. "These pups are very weak," she said. "They need milk, warmth, and rest, and they need their mother calm too." David nodded. "She's been through too much." He stayed close. He brought Bella warm food and sat with her during the long hours. She didn't let anyone else near her pups. But with David, she was different. She let him sit by her. Sometimes, when her head felt too heavy to hold up, she would rest it in his lap. David would gently stroke her ears, whispering, "You're not alone anymore." On the 3rd day, one of the puppies opened its eyes. Just a little, but it was enough. "Doctor." Elena smiled for the first time. "It's working, they're getting stronger." But danger wasn't gone yet. That evening, David stepped outside to get fresh air. The village was quiet, and the sun was going down behind the hills. He felt a strange sense of peace, until he saw the car, a black SUV. It stopped near the clinic. 2 men got out, one tall, one stocky. They didn't look like locals, they looked hard, angry, and they weren't there for a checkup. David's heart started to race. The men walked up fast. One of them pointed at the clinic door. "You got a dog in there?" he asked. David didn't answer. "That shepherd," the other one said. "She's ours." David stood tall. "She's not going anywhere." The tall man laughed. "You think you can keep her? She was part of our training group." David frowned. "You mean the cage with blood and filth? The pups barely alive? That place?" The shorter man stepped forward. "Give her back or we take her." Before David could speak, a deep growl rose from behind him. Bella. She had come out. Her body was still thin, her legs weak, but her teeth were showing, and her eyes were full of fire. She stepped in front of David. She didn't bark. She didn't move back. She just stood there, silent and strong. The men looked at each other. The tall one laughed again, but this time it was nervous. "You trained her good," he said. "Too good. Let's go." And they left. David watched until their car disappeared down the road. Bella didn't move until they were gone. Then she turned and leaned gently against David's leg. Weeks had passed since David brought Luna and her 3 surviving puppies into his world. The mother dog, once weak and silent, now walked with quiet strength. Her eyes still carried sadness, but they also showed something new: trust. David had named the puppies too. Max, the biggest; Daisy, the fastest; and the smallest, Leo, the one who almost didn't make it. Each day, they grew stronger. The vet, Dr. Elena, called it a miracle. But David knew the real reason. They had their mother, and they had love. Luna still slept close to her pups every night. Sometimes she would look around the room and whine softly, as if searching for something. David guessed she still remembered the 4th puppy, the one that hadn't survived. Grief, even in animals, doesn't disappear so easily. But just as life was starting to feel normal, something happened that brought the pain back. It was a quiet afternoon. David had just returned from the store when he saw a black van parked near his small cottage. 2 men stood by the gate. They weren't locals. One had a scar over his lip. The other wore dark glasses even though it was cloudy. "Can I help you?" David asked as he stepped out of his car. The man with the scar stepped forward. "That dog, she's ours." David felt the hair on his arms rise. "Excuse me? We know her. That's our dog." She ran away. Luna, who had been lying in the grass, stood up slowly. Her tail went stiff. She didn't bark, but the growl in her throat was low and steady. Her pups ran behind her and hid. "She's not going with you," David said firmly. "She's registered," the man replied. "She's ours by law." David didn't move. "She was found starving, hiding in a shack filled with dying puppies. That's not how you treat something you own." Luna stepped closer to David's side. She looked the men dead in the eye, and for a moment she wasn't scared. She was standing tall, fierce, protective. The man with the scar chuckled. "You think she'll protect you?" "I don't think it," David said. "I know it." Just then, Dr. Alina's truck pulled into the driveway. She stepped out and walked over. "Is there a problem?" she asked calmly. The men turned and saw her. She wore her vet uniform. Her face was serious. She had seen Luna's wounds. She had taken the photos. "If you're here for that dog," she said, "then you're not walking away without a police visit." The man with the glasses swore under his breath. The one with the scar glared at Luna, then at David. "You'll regret this," he spat. "No," David said. "You will." The men got into their van and drove off without another word. Luna collapsed at David's feet, not in fear, but in relief. She leaned her head against his leg and let out a long, deep sigh. That night, David lit a fire in the cottage. The puppies slept on a blanket near the hearth. Luna lay beside them. David sat close, watching them, thinking about everything they had survived. "You're safe now," he whispered, stroking her head. "And no one's ever taking you away again." Luna looked up at him. Her eyes were softer now, still deep, still knowing, but softer. And for the first time she wagged her tail. Sometimes the ones with the quietest cries are the ones with the loudest stories. Luna's story wasn't just about rescue. It was about strength, loss, and finding home again. Do you believe dogs remember those who saved them?